A goddess intervenes. The Odyssey, Book 1, translated by Robert Fitzgerald. My name is Miss Wright. This is Mount Olympus, where the conversation at the beginning of Book 1 takes place. We are in the home of the gods. Some of the terms that you should know as you begin to read the Odyssey are proem, an introduction to a literary work or speech. And in this book, the poem begins, "Sing in me, muse, and through me tell the story of that man skilled in all ways of contending." So that very first page or so of the book is a poem. Gnostus, Greek for homecoming, and this story is about Odysseus' attempt to get home, all the adventures he has, and then what happens when he finally reaches home. Telemachy, the early books of the Odyssey that focus on Telemachus' journey to find news of his father. Shifts in focus. We will move from the home of the gods down to Ithaca. We will leave Ithaca and go on a journey with Telemachus. So we're moving from different setting to different setting, from different point of view to different point of view, especially in that the play begins in the voice of Homer and then shifts to the voice of different gods, goddesses, and mortals. Epithet, Xenia, anthropomorphism, anaphora, epanellipsis, and anadiplosis. I will explain as we go along. The gods intervene. Hero's journey. The hero must leave home to be challenged by the world and then return home transformed. Achaeans, Argive, and Danaans each means Greeks. But because this is poetry and in order to complete each line of poetry, the word has to fit the meter. The author has given himself a choice of 3 words to help complete the meter of any given line. So they all mean Greeks, but he can use them interchangeably as he needs to complete a specific line of meter. This is a photo of Mount Olympus. Okay, so a goddess intervenes. The gray-eyed goddess Athena replied to Zeus, "O Majesty, O Father of us all, what man is in the dust indeed, and justly, so perish all who do what he had done. But my own heart is broken for Odysseus, the mastermind of war, so long a castaway upon an island in the running sea, a wooded island in the sea's middle, and there's a goddess in the place, the daughter of one whose baleful mind knows all the deeps of the blue sea, Atlas, who holds the columns that bear from land the great thrust of the sky." Okay, so here we have an adjective phrase, gray-eyed goddess, that modifies Athena. And this is a phrase that will come back throughout the story. And therefore, we call it an epithet. Sometimes it's is there with the name Athena. Sometimes it replaces the name Athena. And we know who they're talking about by that time. O Majesty, O Father of us all. The repeated O and O at the beginning of each phrase is anaphora. That man is in the dust indeed, and justly. That man, if we're not sure, we would be confused, but this is Aegisthus. Aegisthus is the man who had an affair with Clytemnestra and plotted with her to murder her husband upon his return, and indeed does just that. His father's death is eventually revenged by the son Orestes. So perishes all who do what he had done. So Athena, is saying that Aegisthus deserved the death that he received. Anthropomorphism is when the goddess Athena talks about having a broken heart for Odysseus. She's expressing a human emotion, a human quality, and anthropomorphism is when the gods act like humans. Epithet again with the mastermind of war. If it comes back throughout the story, we would say this is an epithet. And at the bottom here, when talking about Atlas, we know that Atlas is the one who's supposed to be holding the sky or holding up the world on his shoulders. And Calypso, the girl who is holding Odysseus captive, is Atlas's daughter. His daughter will not let Odysseus go. Poor mournful man, she keeps on coaxing him with her beguiling talk to turn his mind from Ithaca, but such desire is in him merely to see the hearth smoke leaping upward from his own island that he longs to die. Are you not moved by this, Lord of Olympus? Had you no pleasure from Odysseus's offerings beside the Argive ships on Troy's right seaboard? O Zeus, what do you hold against him now? So remember, this is the voice of Athena, and she is basically saying, Odysseus is being held against his will. This woman is in love with her, but he wants to go home, and it's time for Zeus to step up and help Odysseus, allow him to be free to get back to his home. And I put here, we can see Argive, it means Greeks, and when she speaks directly to her father and names him, it's called a direct address. This is a simulation of Greek of Zeus with his thunderbolt. To this the summoner of cloud replied, my child, what strange remarks you let escape you? Could I forget that kingly man, Odysseus? There is no mortal half so wise, no mortal gave so much to the lords of open sky. Only the god who laps the land in water. Poseidon bears the fighter an old grudge, since he poked out the eye of Polyphemus, brawniest of the Cyclopes, who bore. Okay, so we have another epithet. Summoner of cloud is an epithet for Zeus. We also have epanalypsis with the repetition of the phrase no mortal, no mortal. Epanalypsis is repetition with intervening words. We have another epithet, the god who laps the land in water. And we have the conflict. Here's a conflict. Poseidon bears Odysseus a grudge. He has a problem with Odysseus and he is making his life very difficult because Odysseus has poked out the eye of Polyphemus, who is the son of Poseidon. So he's blinded Poseidon's son, and Poseidon is unhappy about that. That giant lout, Thusa, daughter of Phorcys, an offshore sea lord, for this nymph had lain with Lord Poseidon in her hollow cave. Naturally, the god, after the blinding, mind you, he does not kill the man. He only buffets him away from home. But come now, we are all at leisure here. So it's natural that Poseidon should not be happy with Odysseus' behavior. He hasn't killed Odysseus because he knows that he cannot, because of the prophecy, but he's making his life very difficult. When it says he buffets him about, or buffets him away from home, he keeps kind of bouncing him around from place to place, making it difficult for him to go home. Let us take up this matter of his return, that he may sail. Poseidon must relent, for being quarrelsome will get him nowhere. One god flouting the will of all the gods? The grey-eyed goddess Athena answered him, O Majesty, O Father of us all, if it now please the blissful gods that wise Odysseus reaches home again, let the wayfinder Hermes cross the sea to the island of Ogygia. Let him tell our fixed intent to the nymph with pretty braids. So you can see the conflict again is discussed. You can see another example of Anaphra, O Majesty, O Father of us all. It's actually the exact same line. And that brings me to the concept of formula. Formula is when certain lines repeat verbatim over and over again. They say that it's about 20% of the Odyssey is repetition. So you can see it right there that there's a line that has come back exactly the way it was the first time you saw it. Here's another epithet, wayfinder for Hermes, and nymph with the pretty braids is an epithet for Calypso. And here's an illustration of Odysseus hanging on for dear life, as he is trying to get back home after he's been released from the island. And let the steadfast man depart from home. For my part, I shall visit Ithaca. Gods intervene. That's an example of Athena deciding that she's going to go right down to Ithaca and help Telemachus to put more courage in the son and rouse him to call an assembly of the islanders. A Chian gentleman with flowing hair, he must warn off that wolf pack of the suitors who prey upon his flocks and dusky cattle. I'll send him to the mainland then, to Sparta, by the sand beach of Pylos. Let him find news of his dear father where he may, and win his own renown about the world. So actually the most important line is the one at the end, that he's going to find or going to seek information about his father. But in the process of going home, sailing the seas, having a little adventure of his own, he's going to win his own respect from the people that he meets. And it's going to be part of his maturation. So I put hero's journey here when they talk about him traveling. You also have a metaphor with the wolf pack. This represents the suitors. And the gods intervened, we spoke of in terms of Athena deciding she's going to be hands-on and show up at Ithaca to guide Telemachus. She bent to tie her beautiful sandals on, ambrosial, golden, that carry her over water or over endless land on the wings of the wind, and took the great heft of her spear in hand, that bronze-shod spear this child of power can use to break in wrath long battle lines of fighters. So Athena is preparing herself for this journey down to Ithaca, flashing down from Olympus' height she went, to stand in Ithaca before the manor. Just at the doorstep of the court she seemed a family friend, the Taphian captain Bentes, waiting with a light hand on her spear. Before her eyes she found the lusty suitors casting dice inside the gate, at ease on hides of oxen they had killed. Now, the most important part of this is she appears, she's transformed into someone who is actually a family friend who would not frighten Telemachus. But the other important thing here is the very first time we see the suitors. What are they doing? They're playing dice and lounging around on oxen hides. So we don't see them in an auspicious way. We see them as kind of wasters, lazy layabouts who are just biding their time day in and day out and having fun and hanging out and turning Penelope's palace into some kind of pool type of place, playing CeeLo with the dice. Okay? Mentees and mentor are two different characters, so try not to get them confused. Okay, I have to sign off here because we are about to end. This is a book that I really recommend. It's a wonderful companion to the Odyssey, and I use it all the time. All right, see you back in class. Bye-bye.